Welcome to the Real Estate Show this weekend on KMED. Pete Belcastro, one of the real estate guys with you here today, and thanks for being with us here in mid-May as we continue our march towards summer in the Rogue Valley and all the great things that lie ahead in that time of the year, as you know. So anyway, looking forward to some wonderful weeks ahead. Next weekend we'll be with the Jackson County Home Builders Association. Look forward to their show as well. But today we're going to talk about water. You know, back in 2006, the voters of Jackson County, by a pretty wide margin, approved a 5-cent property tax levy to support the Jackson Soil and Water Conservation District when 3 of these districts formed into the one. And, you know, like my property tax of that is $13.77 a year. And for that pretty good little investment, we've certainly learned how to be good stewards of land and water and what that means, and have an organization to lead us through that. And that's what the JSWCD is. Whether you're an urban property owner or a rural property owner, you pay that tax. And so you got a stake in what the JSWCD does to be good stewards of land and water, which they've taught so much of us here in these last few years. Anyway, Paul DeMaggio is an engineer with the JSWCD, is here with us today, and first time with us at KMED. So Paul, nice to have you here. How you doing?
Yeah, good to be here, Pete. Thanks.
Now, you've been here a couple of years now with the district, right?
Yeah, coming up on 2 years in July.
2 years in July. Mm-hmm. You've seen a lot in that 2 years, haven't you?
I've been all around the county in those 2 years.
Tell people what your job actually does entail on this whole thing, would you? Right in front of that thing. There you go.
Sure, yeah. So let's give you a day-to-day basis of what I've been doing here since I got here.
Yeah.
We get calls from all types of different landowners, from mostly retired folks that come up from California. They purchase a small portion of land. Usually,
it's not unusual.
They talk with OSU Extension, and we work closely with them, and we're able to provide a free site visit to any of these folks, and we go out, look at their natural resource concerns, whether it's erosion, irrigation efficiency, nutrient management, stormwater concerns, all these different things. We come up with a plan with them, and at no cost to them, and we go through the planning process and provide technical assistance and get projects implemented on the ground.
And these people are looking for just help, right? And how to manage their property better. I mean, that's a good sign.
Right. A lot of them just need someone to bounce ideas off of. And we kind of offer that just right up front. We're able to go out. We can come out anytime. Usually we do an hour site visit, anyone's property, and they're throwing ideas at us. And we're saying, yeah, that's a good idea. Have you thought about this idea? This class is opening up. You'll enjoy this class. And we kind of help them facilitate all different types of their projects. Blackberry removal is big.
Blackberry removal, thistle removal. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. Weed removal, all types of stuff.
Well, it's always interesting to me when you say people from California who come up here for, look, rural properties are still selling well in Jackson County. I mean, in Josephine County as well. And when you look at those, Paul, it's surprised Randy White, the executive director, we were looking at these statistics one day and we go, what percentage of properties sold in Jackson County are classified as rural properties, rural residential, rural properties? And Randy said he thought maybe 10%. Mm-hmm. Okay, you tell me what you think.
I don't know. I recently heard that rural property meant anywhere in a city that's less than 50,000 or something like that?
No, we're going like rural.
Really rural.
You got to have some land with you.
Yeah, I'd say about 10%.
Well, it's a quarter. It's a 25% of all properties are classified as rural. So we were saying, well, that's like 500 properties in a year that have changed hands just in Jackson County of people who didn't live in a rural property the year before living on it. It should keep you busy for a long time just talking to these folks.
Yeah, we're going to be kept really busy. And we're actually hiring 2 new folks coming up here. We just sent out the letters for a new planner and a new education lady. So that should make my job a little easier now.
A little bit easier.
Yeah, I'll be able to go out and get more projects implemented on the ground.
Yeah, because that's the most fun.
Right. We'll have a better team over there at the JSWCD.
So. Well, just to tell people, let me get this figure out of here. It was in terms of the total number of rural properties that were in that last reporting period, and they classify them down as under 5 acres, 5 to 10 acres, and over 10 acres. And in Jackson County, in that 3-month period from February through April, 99 of those properties sold, of which most of those are under 5 acres. And then 53 were under 5 acres, 30 were 5 to 10 acres, and 16 were over 10 acres. And that's just in a 3-month period that changed hands. And so that's quite a bit there when you think about that. So what are you hearing? We're talking with, by the way, with Paul DeMaggio of the Jackson Soil Water Conservation District today on the Real Estate Show. You're out with people right now, and of course, I've been sounding horns here for months that we're going to be in for a real difficult drought year. I mean, the drought declarations have been declared, all around us. You're out in the field. I mean, you're meeting people who live out there who depend on water and things like that. Tell me what are they saying to you? What are you hearing about all this that's supposed to happen to us this summer?
Sure, yeah. A lot of folks, since they're new in the area, they're not too involved with the whole history of drought, the whole history of the area. So they think that since we're getting these spring rains, oh no, we're not in a drought.
Everything's fine.
Everything's fine. We're not in a drought.
And it has been raining this spring.
Right, and it's been a great spring. It's been a lucky spring. We were on path for a pretty serious drought. And now it's been remediated a little bit, but the snowpack is still record low.
Yeah.
The soil moisture, which is one of the largest reservoirs in the area, is very low.
Soil moisture.
So the water moving subsurface that we don't see is very low, and that's related to the snowpack.
Yeah. Are people preparing, or how are they preparing, or can you even prepare for what is obviously going to lie ahead?
It's definitely on the tip of everyone's tongue when we go out there. And we've done some classes with OSU Extension. We did a drought class.
Right. And how did that go, by the way?
It went really well. We had a pretty good turnout, about 40 plus people.
And this was a class called Learning to Live with Drought, I believe, was the name of the class.
Exactly.
And it was kind of, how do you prepare for this?
Yeah, so we had the water master come on. He talked about the state of the drought as it is now with the snowpack. We had a planner come on, talk about what to do in these drought situations and how to prepare your property and prepare your lifestyle before the drought happens, so that when the emotional aspect, stress aspect of the drought actually occurs, then you have a plan in place. You need to get rid of this many animals. You need to put this land aside and not irrigate this land and only irrigate your best productive land. Or do stress irrigation, limit your water use, and things like that. But a lot of these, with irrigation, a lot of it's based on if you have control over your irrigation.
Okay, right.
Which means you're not getting it twice or once every 2 weeks for a couple days. So
how does that? Because most irrigators in the valley, and I assume this, at least when I was still doing that down with TID, you got water every 2 weeks. Wasn't
every 2 weeks.
You had it for like 48 hours, something like that, or 72 hours, and you got it, and then it stopped.
Right, generally, yeah.
So you always had to be there to be able to use the water while you had it. I don't know if that's going to continue this summer or not. Are you hearing? I guess it will for a while anyway.
Jim Pendleton from TID mentioned to me the other day that they will have a pretty good season this year, flowing through folks that are on TID. They're gonna, in order to do that, they're gonna have to drop Immigrant Lake, Hyatt Lake, and Howard Prairie down to very low, down to
the nubs, like the blackberry nubs, down to the nubs.
Yeah, definitely. So they're sweating this year, and they're stressing for next year.
Right, and we had said, I think a year ago when we did shows on this, that we would probably be able to have enough water this summer, but it was the next one.
You're right,
because they're going to draw down these reservoirs to the nubs. It takes a whole lot of water to fill them back up.
Right, and Howard Prairie is on a 3-year drought cycle, so you can do three droughts on that lake, apparently.
And this is the third year of it?
This is the second year of that, so they're not going to drop that one down all the way, but if the drought continues, then that one will be completely depleted.
Continue to use them as well.
Right.
Yeah,
another thing I find out when going out and talking to these folks is where their water comes from. It just seems to show up in the canal and it's there. And people don't think about it until a drought situation, and then you're looking at the big picture.
All of a sudden,
and there's actually a lot of canals, miles and miles of canals that come all the way from Howard Prairie, drop down into Hyatt, come across to Immigrant Lake, tunnels and canals that brings water right to your doorstep. And people take this water for granted.
Isn't it a remarkable system that is here?
It is.
How they move water from the Klamath County side over and down into this valley, and what it does, it's amazing.
Right, it's remarkable.
And look what it has done to our valley. I mean, the irrigation water that we get from it. Well, I was at I drove as I was up. I had some clients that I was visiting with up in the mountains this past week, and I could see that I drove by Hyatt Lake, and it was really way down. And then it's the same thing over at Howard Prairie. The docks were dry. A lot of them were, and boy, it sure makes you sit back and take, wow, that's amazing. So, what else are you saying? How you have the information about the reservoirs right now, and what are they? I heard that Lost Creek Lake is full.
Yeah, I got
which is really good news, because I mean that's and so I've read that there is enough for the fish. So the summer out of Lost Creek, the Rogue River will have enough water in there. I don't know how to draw that thing down, but.
I'm not sure how much they're going to draw it down, but yeah, again, Lost Creek doesn't supply a lot of water for folks for irrigation.
Right, yeah.
So that's mostly just keeping the Rogue looking nice and funding that whole tourist attraction, which is the Rogue River and the fisheries in the Rogue, which is really important to this area's economy.
Well, I have a jet boat. I have a jet boat trip down the Rogue River scheduled for July 31st. I'll let you know if it.
Yeah, let me know
if there's water in the river.
If you hit any rocks.
Yeah, they say it'll be okay. So that's good. Okay,
the fishing could be better if it's lower.
What are the other?
So coming off of today, off of the teacup diagrams on the Rogue Valley that anyone can access online, Immigrant 76% full. Hyatt Lake is 44% full. Howard Prairie is 55% full. Agate Lake is 97% full. 4 Mile is 46%. Fish Lake is 68%. Willow is 99%. And Applegate is 90%.
Yeah, okay. So Immigrant Lake, even though it looks pretty full when you drive by it right now, it's still that last 10 feet. That last 10 feet is a quarter of the entire, because the lake is spread out so much, so to get higher, it takes more water.
Right. It exponentially increases the storage as you increase the deal. So they're thinking about some planning has been going on to try to remediate this drought in the long term. And some ideas have come up to expand the capacity of Immigrant and Agate Lake. They're thinking about doubling the capacity of Agate Lake by raising the water level, and they're only 5 feet.
Wow. Well, it would be huge to do that, and I think
it would be costly.
The issue is about water storage. Not that we don't have. It's bad when we dump water down the river when we don't need to. If we could store part of it. Okay, so I had this thing from a year ago. Okay, last July.
Sure.
I saved this sheet, Paul.
Perfect.
For this very moment. Okay, I say because we were with the Bureau of Reclamation. And they had a list of the reservoirs in July of last year, July of 2013.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
And we had a big snowpack before last year.
In July, Immigrant Lake was 71% full.
Wow.
Hyatt Lake was 76% full. It is today
44%.
Howard Prairie last July was 74% full. Today it is?
Today in May, it's 55%.
Okay, let's see. Fish Lake in July a year ago was 70% full.
Oh, it's 68% now.
In May, so still 2 months away from that.
Yeah.
And 4 Mile Lake was always the first one to go down, but 4 Mile Lake in July was at 44%.
And now it's about 46% right now.
Yeah, so imagine it in 2 more months. You see how much lower these are going to be.
They're saying they're probably going to drop these all the way down, Immigrant, Hyatt, completely down as much as possible by September.
Yeah. Well,
so getting out there before that happens is key if you want to get some time on the lake.
Now I heard, and I know you don't know this, but I just want to say this. Somebody, maybe a listener, may know this. Understand that TID and the city of Ashland, for example, sent letters to TID rights holders who live, I believe, within the city, and I'm not one of them. I mean, I don't have TID in my property. But that they are not going to be delivered any water this summer. Instead, they're going to leave that water in the lake for domestic use when the city needs it later this summer. Which is and I assume that that's true. I mean, people have said they've gotten the letter from that. I've not seen the letter itself, but if that's true, that's quite unprecedented, really. I mean, I was really quite surprised at that in some ways, but I guess on the other hand, maybe not. We're in a severe drought.
Sure, it all depends on who has the prior appropriation rights of that water. So if the town of Ashland has rights to that water, before other folks do, then the other folks
they got rights to some water, whether or not they got rights to all that, to say you don't get any more for you don't have a yard anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Some people use that water for the big beautiful yards, and you don't have the water.
Mm-hmm.
No matter where you are, this is going to affect us in some way, whether you recreate on the lakes or whatever. A drought is not going to be good for anybody, any living thing around. We're going to take a break. The Real Estate Show rolls on here on KMED. We're with Paul DeMaggio of the Jackson Soil Water Conservation District. We're coming right back after this. The Real Estate Show continues here on KMED this weekend. Pete Belcastro, one of the real estate guys with you here today. Joe Brett taking today off. He'll be back with us next Saturday when the Jackson County Home Builders Association are going to stop by. We're going to give you an update on home building activity throughout Jackson County. And as you know, that has been a bright spot after a number of years of just inactivity, you might say, and how that industry is bouncing back right now. And there's some really interesting stories that you'll hear as well. Some of the people, so a lot of the contractors, the whole thing was to survive. And if those who survived are now reaping the benefits of survival because things have improved there, we'll hear from them next week here on our show. We also have a TV show coming up on Tuesday at 6 o'clock on the RBTV cable channels on Charter and the Ashland Fiber Network channels as well. Channel 9 and Channel 180 will be the live shows on that Tuesday. First segment is going to be a Remax. We have a Market Watch show for you. Segment 2 will be with the JSWCD. So we'll kind of continue our conversation there. Today we're with Paul DeMaggio, what is your actual title there, Paul, that you've got there? What is that thing?
I'm the natural resource engineer.
But, engineer, I was right. I was going to say engineer. Right. He's an engineer.
I got my degree at Cal Poly 2 years ago as a bioresource and agricultural engineer down there. So basically focused on water irrigation, water efficiency, moving water around, soil plant water relationships.
Yeah,
everything that's really important here for the drought. So.
I was going to say you're kind of like a really important guy. Well, and you're, by the way, and you are a string of young men, I believe, and people from Cal Poly who have come up here and been part of the JSWCD, haven't you?
Sure. Yeah, I replaced a fellow Dan Scalis who was up here before I was for 3 years. And he's since moved on to Klamath Falls area, is working for the NRCS. That's where he's at. Okay, very good. Mm-hmm. Well, now California. I mean, look what's happening in California. We talk about our own issues here. I don't know what in the world. Yeah, I just saw it on the TV right here. It said severe drought over there in LA area, and we're kind of sitting a little bit above that drought line in here in Jackson County, but couple of years down the road and we'll all be in the same boat. Oh, well, I hope we're not in the same boat. I mean, I really we don't want to do that. We remember we had a pray for snow day on Mount Ashland, which we had some snow that day when we were in here and that kind of thing. We may start that early because we're certainly going to need it. Mm-hmm. Well, I drove through Kern County down by Bakersfield on my way back from Arizona about a month ago, I guess it was now. And the amount of new acreages that continue to be planted there that require large amounts of water is stunning that continues to happen there. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And now all of a sudden you got these millions and millions of dollars worth of orchards that have been planted as opposed to crops that you can just lay land be idle like you're going to see in the Klamath Basin again. Sure. It's a very different situation. Wow, and there's no water. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And they're focusing really hard with NRCS, the Natural Resource Conservation Service, who we work with, JSWCD works with, and they're working hard, working their butts off down in California to switch people to more efficient irrigation systems. Well, so it happened in the last drought. They converted a lot of people from flood to drip. And now they're converting folks again from sprinkler to more efficient drip systems. And the answer is not just pumping a well, because the groundwater is going to go down too. So you got to be more efficient and all the kinds of things that we always talk about. Right. Well, now you work with that. Tell folks a project or so that you've worked on since you've been here that has really changed the way people use water, because the examples are stunning. They're startling of what can be done and how much water
or really how inefficient we still are with the water that we have. So tell us about one of your projects.
So we've been working in the Little Butte Creek area through the Little Butte Creek Watershed Enhancement Program. And the idea with that is to just reduce overland flows from irrigation type on agriculture, on pasture land, and reduce that overland flow by switching from flood irrigation to sprinkler irrigation. And we've come up with some huge numbers. We're reducing the flows. 7 CFS is going into the stream, and by switching to sprinkler, we're getting no runoff off of the land into the creeks over there.
And why is that important?
That's important because the overland flows contain bacteria, sediment. They're really high temperature, which all affects the fish population in the stream.
So your goal in these projects is basically, because right now when you flood, and I tell you, when down by Phoenix where I work, flooded, and I irrigated down there, I mean, the water came and you flooded, and it rolled down by the freeway, rolled down the section, and it just all went with it.
Yep, and it carries all that stuff down with it, right?
Carries it all with it. But some places can't sprinkle.
Right.
Obviously.
Right.
So you're kind of messed up there. But the goal is to reduce that kind of flow into streams, right? Because as you say, for fish and everything. Are you successful doing with this?
Yeah, we've had success. We've since I've only worked on maybe half of these projects, but we've had about 300 acres converted in that little area, Little Butte Creek area, converted from wild flood irrigation, where it's maybe about 30% efficient, to sprinkler irrigation that's, maybe about 80% efficient.
I've certainly,
they're increasing their yield about 50 to 30% by switching from the flood to sprinkler. They're not saturating their soils as much, so they're getting higher production.
Because they're treating the soil better.
They're treating the soil better. They're giving the plants the optimal moisture condition. And then also the irrigators that are out there that used to be with shovels out there, moving water around, following the water around, make sure it got to where it needed. 7 days a week, all throughout the summer, they didn't have any vacations. But now they got some days off because they're switching to sprinkler.
They're switching to sprinkler.
They're switching to sprinkler. It's easier to manage. There's still a management portion to that. I'm not saying switching to sprinkler is, a magical wand, but you have to have some management. You need to apply the right amount of water to your crop.
I think that's the key, is the right amount of water. I've seen or I've heard of new sprinkling systems that are high efficiency. The old ones, you get the old rain birds, that sprinkle around there. It's going to go. But I hear that there's newer ones, don't put different, smaller amounts of water. They're more efficient. Is that true?
Sure. They do tons of tests. I had a tour of the Nelson Irrigation Company up in Walla Walla, and their quality assurance was top notch. They tested everything from droplet size on their sprinklers to how much vibration the sprinkler has when it's spinning around.
Really?
They know the exact uniformity of their sprinkler pattern. They know exactly how much water they're applying in a given system.
Wow.
And it was amazing how much monitoring they do and how high tech that little sprinkler can be.
And how much more yield you get at the end of the day. Well, we got a caller on the line. Hello, caller. Welcome to the show today.
Yeah, hi. So I don't know how to broach the subject without sounding like a buzzkill or a naysayer, but I'm paying $25 now a year for this service. I live in the city. I have blackberry bushes. I know how to remove myself. What you guys were just talking about with the water irrigation, that's in ranchers' best interest, and I think that they're learning about how to do that. What I'm saying is that this is now just an ever-growing, almost entitlement service, and where's it going to end? It's going to become like the library issue. Where we expect something for free. You get somebody from California buys a 20-acre ranch and wants to produce wine on it as a hobby, and you and I have to pony up for the guy to get information when he could pay for the service or look it up on his own. Am I out of, I
understand what you're saying. I think for your $25 investment, though, in the JSWCD, it's still worth it, because I don't think we don't want people moving here who are buying rural agriculture land and who have no idea what they're doing, because it not only affects their property, it affects the neighbors. It affects everybody around you. And
typically we don't work with a lot of these high profile, high profit type of folks. It's mostly we're helping out the individuals that are doing it for a hobby, or they're doing it small time on a small farm.
Yeah.
All they want to do is be more efficient on their own place. They want to remove some blackberries. And we a lot of times don't even talk to the big high money makers out here. Because we don't want to take money away from the local guys that are doing the irrigation. So.
No, so I can understand. I can understand that your comment on it, but like I say, I think it's well worth it, because we don't want people who don't know what they're doing living on our rural lands. I mean, this is an assistance, whether you live in the city or the surrounding area. There's a lot of things that people can do in the urban areas to be better stewards of water and how we use our land as well. Pesticide use and things like that. It's all sorts of things. The Real Estate Show. Hey, we're coming right back after this. The Real Estate Show rolls on this weekend on KMED. Pete Belcastro with you here today. Thanks for being with us. Next Saturday, the Home Builders Association are going to be with us, and we look forward to that show. Give you an update there. 2 weeks from today, the Shelley Culbertson will be along from Tie Court Title. We'll hear from her. We've got a TV show coming up on Tuesday, 6 o'clock live, RVTV, the charter cable channels and AFN channels as well. So we look forward to all of that with you and sharing good information, no question about that, as we continue on. We're with Paul DeMaggio from the Jackson Soil and Water Conservation District today on the Real Estate Show, and we've got a caller on the line. Hello, caller. Welcome to the show.
Hi. Listen, I moved up here about 15 years ago, and I continually get impressed with the foresight of the farmers that were here in the 1920s and 30s and put this irrigation system in. I think it's wonderful. And I heard your guest a little while ago say that they were thinking of expanding the capacity of Immigrant Lake. And I happen to live right on Highway 66 overlooking it, and I was wondering if you could provide some more information on that.
All right. Thanks for the call.
Okay, bye now.
All right. There you go.
I don't have too much information more on that. That'd be a call for.
Isn't it part of the WISE project? I think
exactly.
Which is the water. The WISE project.
Water for irrigation, sustainability, and economy.
Right.
Yeah. So.
And that project would pipe a lot of the current ditches, and it would expand the capacity of Immigrant Lake as part of that. So that is true. So.
And they're still in the planning and the feasibility studies of that. So that's
years away.
Years away.
Years away on that thing. But it is called out of the WISE project.
They have a website out there if you want to check it out.
Okay. We got another caller on the line. Hello, caller. Welcome to the show today.
Hi. Good afternoon.
Good morning still.
Yeah. Anyway, I wanted to just let your listeners know nothing is free. The taxpayers are paying for it.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. I think no
Have a good
question
day.
about that. My thing with it is that, do I get a good investment for that tax dollar? I mean, that's what I look at. And you can look at your tax bill. I look at mine, I say the JSWCD, that is a good investment because I get a lot back from that. Our community gets a lot back for a very small amount. The same way with the extension service, that 5-cent levy, we get we pay only 1/3 of the cost. It's leveraged. Oregon State University pays for part of that, and the federal government pays for part of the extension service. And look what benefits our county. How many people were out at the Master Gardeners show a couple of weeks ago? What a great turnout! Lots of people there going on there. Okay, Paul. Before we get out of here, and our time always runs out,
Sure.
Ag Days are coming up. Tell people, our listeners, what is Ag Days, and why should they care? I mean, why is it important for them to go out and look at some of this stuff?
Sure, yeah. They got some great live field demonstrations of different irrigation sets, different sprinkler irrigations for your farm. You can actually go out there and see what you might want to put in the future when you switch from flood to sprinkler, or if you're updating your current sprinkler system.
All right. So what do you mean? I can go to a farm. Tell me what that actually entails.
So it's the first day is Friday, May 30th, from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. at Seven Oaks Farm. 5526 Rogue Valley Highway, and
it's in Central Point.
And they'll have a lot of agri-professionals out here. They'll have barbecue lunch on them from Papa Terrell's, and then on Saturday they're doing the same deal. Saturday, May 31st, from 10 to 3 at the D. Simone Family Farm on Williams Highway in Grants Pass.
Now the one Seven Oaks is the one by the freeway, right? Where everybody drives by.
Right.
They're by Central Point. You say, look at all the things they're growing there. That's them, right?
I believe so.
I think that is Seven Oaks Farms there.
Sure.
Anyway,
So they're going to be showing off a lot of different. They're showing off some drip tape. They're showing off the K-line pod irrigation systems, some under tree sprinklers for orchards, some no leak hand lines. Everyone's got the aluminum hand lines now, and those are really leaky. They got these new no leak ones.
No leak hand lines. Wow.
And then they have some big gun travelers, these big gun wheels that work pretty well.
Well, I see a lot of those around. A lot of wheel lines, or the big guns.
Sure, exactly.
Around. They must be pretty efficient. I mean, people obviously use them, don't they?
Yeah, people use them a lot. They put out a lot of water, and they work for certain applications, but not so well for others.
For others, and that's where the soil comes in all these kinds of things. Because when I buy land, I want to know what this. I mean, the thing about the JSWCD, you guys have enough classes to hold around to where you can teach people how to do it themselves.
Right.
You're really helping them because our soils are different than they are in California. You've learned that, haven't you?
Oh, yeah.
Our water situation is very different. And because of our climate, we can only grow certain things, and some things don't grow well here.
Exactly. And we can come out to people's places for free and give them some advice on what irrigation systems to put in. We're not trying to sell anything. It's just trying to get conservation on the ground, trying to protect the natural resource.
Now, when you say you go for free, just because we had a call about that, what you're doing is that you're giving assistance because these people are paying for it through their property tax already.
Exactly.
If you own the land, you're paying that $13 or $20 a month to do that.
No extra cost.
There you go.
For us to come out as many times as we need. So,
and you do it not only for land but for small woodlands. I was up in the Green Springs with the fella, and he's got a large acreage of trees.
Sure.
And the first thing I say to him, you need to call the JSWCD and come up here and have somebody help you decide what you need to do with this because it's way overgrown. It's a fire hazard. If you buy it, you need to have some help. And I say the JSWCD is what I would go to.
Right, and we're non-regulatory, so we're kind of the open door policy of people going out, and we have a lot of connections with other agencies that we can help you out and refer you to different people to talk to about forest or about fish or all these different aspects. And you don't have to feel like you're making a mistake by calling us and having you out there because under law, we can't report you on anything. We're non-regulatory.
I just think that since I've gotten to know Randy and everybody, how much we've seen improvements on a lot of land around our county that wouldn't have happened probably if you weren't here. So that's what. Paul, how can someone get a hold of you if they want to talk to you a little bit further about maybe their own personal property or something like that? How would they do that?
Oh, they can send me an email at paul.demagio@jswcd.com or go to the website at jswcd.org.
Okay.
And if they want to know more about the Ag Demo Days, the On-Farm Ag Demo Days, if you RSVP by May 26th, you get an exclusive coupon. And contact Dave Bauer at 541-227-9081 or dbauer@ewing1.com. Ewing Irrigation is the one sponsoring this event. And I personally really think this is a really important event for all these landowners out here. To learn about the different sprinkler types, to learn about what would work best on your farm and your option, and they'll give you a lot of tips.
And the timing couldn't be better.
Exactly.
Because when we come back, we can come back here in September.
Sure.
And we'll have this discussion again about wise water use, and hopefully we'll all still be around to talk about that as well.
Good.
Paul DeMaggio, thanks for being with us. We'll talk to you soon.
Pleasure
as well.
to be here, Pete.
That'll do it for the real estate today here on KMED. Thanks for joining us. Pete Belcastro with you. Don't forget, all of our shows repeat we're on YouTube and realestateshoworegon.com, so you can check us out there. This show repeats 9 o'clock on Sunday morning. Have a great week, and God bless everybody.
Thank you for listening to the Original Real Estate Show with Pete Belcastro and Joe Brett, the Real Estate Guys. For advice, guidance, or counsel on any of our topics, or to watch a replay of today's show, visit our website at realestateShowOregon.com. This show is sponsored by RE/MAX, Ideal Brokers of Southern Oregon, Ticor Title, All Cities Property Management, and the Jackson Soil and Water Conservation District. We'll continue our weekly quest to enhance the value of your property and to make you a smart real estate consumer when we gather every Saturday and Sunday on KMED for the one and only original real estate show.